Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to today's session. My name is Ayokpeju Falekulo from Adlo Montessori Training Center, saying hello to you today. This is the Montessori Family Project, and we are concentrating on the child. This is our fourth talk about the child. In today's session, we'll be talking about the need for independence. The need for independence. Now, one important thing is for us to understand that the goal of educating the child is to reach independence. The goal of life is to be independent. So when we educate our children, we need to think independence. And it's independence in all aspects, but it takes stages. But we must start. In some ways, it is possible. Hello, Mrs. Esson, how are you? Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to the session. So, with our children, we must be intentional in making sure that they become independent beings. That is the reason for growth. There is no growth without independence. Each step we take in life is to help us to become more and more independent. So your work as a parent is for your child to be independent. Your work as a teacher is to make sure that the children become independent. Now, from our Montessori setting, one thing that stands out is that the independence of the child is actually observed and planned out. When we look at the 4 planes that we talked about on Tuesday, you find out that the child between 0 to 6 is working towards physical independence. Have you ever seen a parent who says, "Oh, I'm not going to allow my child to walk around because I'm scared that my child will fall down. So I'll be carrying my child all over the place. I won't allow my child to walk." No, that doesn't happen. You want your child to walk. Part of the independence that the child gets is to be able to move around. Physical independence, that's the beginning. But let me tell you something. That is not the end of the independence, the physical independence that the child gets. It's in every area of their physical being that the child needs to be independent. And part of that physical independence also includes the child's ability to learn how to do things for himself. Help me to do it myself. Let me learn how to do it myself. Show me how to do it. That is what the child is saying to us. I want physical independence. And yet, there are some of us parents who think that it is okay for other people to be doing things for our children. Even to carry their lunch bag, somebody else has to carry it for them. Why? No. You know one thing, somebody may get very offended by this, but this is something I usually say. A king, a queen, when they go to the toilet, does somebody come and clean their bum for them? They must be independent. No matter how rich you are, no matter how much you have, no matter how much power you think you have, human beings need to be independent. When things go wrong, how are the children going to cope if they have not learned to be independent? Yet you have children who cannot wash their clothes. They get into university. Somebody is either washing their panties for them, or their parents have to be buying reusable, disposable panties for them because they cannot wash their clothes. Their rooms stink. And there might be many reasons why they don't do it themselves. Don't get me wrong. There's some of us who are super parents, we're looking after children who have different disabilities, different challenges in life. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to parents and teachers that have able-bodied children. I mean, some of our children in our school, I remember one story when an aunt, and she actually happens to be my cousin. one of her own immediate nephews was in the school, and she came in and saw her little nephew sweeping, and she was like, you know how to sweep, and we're always sweeping for you. When you come to next time you come to our house, you are going to sweep. We're the ones that are the cause of the problem. The child is allowed to sweep in school, so he saw that the place was dirty, and he went and took a broom and dustpan, and he made sure that he cleaned up the place. He swept, and he got the rubbish, poured it in the rubbish bin. And that is what you want. You want children who are able to do for themselves, not children that are always expecting you to do for them. But that is what the 0 to 6 independence is all about. Physical independence. Please, as they are, once they start walking around, get the children to start doing things for you. Even little things of you want to change their nappy, let them go, put the nappies, the pack of nappies somewhere where they can reach it, and tell the child to go and bring the nappy, go and bring the wipes, and the child will go and bring the wipes, even though they are not up to 1 year old. When they're used to doing things like that, then it becomes very easy for them to help to do things at home. But if you do not allow them, then they will not do it. You will be doing for them. And then one thing that I feel is so unfair for our children is that when they get to a certain age, you now tell them, you're old enough, you should be able to do this yourself. But you have not allowed them to practice. This is the reason why there is hands-on activity in the Montessori classroom. This is why parents are encouraged to do the same thing with their children at home. Give them the opportunity to become people that are physically independent, because that's what they want to learn to do. When you don't give them that opportunity as young children, what happens is that as they grow older, they are not interested in things like that anymore. And if they're not interested in it, that is when you now start insisting, and they start pushing back and saying, no, they're not doing it, because they weren't allowed to do it when they wanted to do it. And they have no idea that they were not allowed. It's just that they're not interested anymore. So we are the ones that need to change our mindset as to what our expectations are for these children. We tend to expect them to have intellectual independence, but right from the very beginning. But we don't give them the opportunity to gain physical independence. There is an anomaly in what our expectations are for these children, and it is about time for us to actually understand what our true expectations should be and to work towards that, rather than giving them things that are over and above their age grade and expecting them to deliver when we have not allowed them to deliver what they can actually deliver at that age. So what am I saying? Growth equals to independence. Independence for your 0 to 6 year old is physical independence. The cry of the child is, show me how to do it. I want to learn how to do this. Help me. So that is what we're supposed to be helping them to achieve. Create the environment where they can achieve physical independence, and physical independence that is age appropriate, not inappropriate independence, but appropriate independence. And let them go stage by stage by stage by stage, step by step, every single thing going from one to the other until they reach the point where they can do things themselves. When the child achieves this, the truth of the whole matter is the child is happy. The child feels that they have done something. They are so pleased with themselves. And even you as the adult, you would be pleased with what the child has been able to achieve. We will talk about the 6 to 12-year-old, but in just small, tiny bits. Let me just say this. Your child that is between 6 to 12 craves independence, but craves a different kind of independence. Intellectual independence, that's what they want. They want to be able to think. I keep repeating this. Primary schools, please. Your children need to be given the avenue to find information. Don't give them all the information. Let them think. Let them come up with problems and let them solve it. That is part of what we're supposed to be doing with these children. We're not just supposed to be feeding them with information. Your child, who is between 12 to 18, on the other hand, simply wants one thing: social independence, so that they will be able to get into the community and find themselves. They need social independence. So making them sit down at home, they can't go and do things that they want to do. No, there has to be, we will talk about this, there has to be some limits to the freedom that the child gets to get their independence, because you can't just open up everything. When you do that, you become a permissive parent, you become a permissive school, and anything can happen. But they do crave social independence. They must get that independence, because if they don't, they will not be able to get into the next sphere and be able to achieve what they're supposed to be able to achieve. And this is the reason why it is wrong for us to be pushing these children ahead. They are going to secondary school before they're supposed to get into secondary school. They're going into university before they're supposed to get into university. If a child has not gained social independence and you are sending them off to university, you are looking for trouble, big trouble. And this is why we have big trouble. If we need to understand how growth happens and how independence happens. And this is the reason why I am bringing this to us, so that our families can understand what it is that they're doing with their children. There is so much more to talk about. Even your 18 to 24-year-old, where everywhere all over the world, so far as we are concerned, these children are adults. Let me tell you something. They're not adults. At 24, they're still learning some important things. What is the independence that a child craves between 18 and 24? Financial independence. And we know for a fact that even though we say they're 18 and they're adults, most of our 18-year-olds, especially to the people I'm talking to right now that will be listening to me right now, you do know that your child at 18, 20 is not financially independent. And they need to learn these things. So what is it that we are doing to make sure that these children actually learn to be financially independent? There are some core fundamentals that we need to put in place. We, in the families, this is the first place. I listened to something this morning, and even though the gentleman had a lot of good points that he was making, but please, it is not the education sector that needs to teach children morals. It's not the education sector's problem to make sure that the heart of the child is in the right place. So what is the job of the parent? So that is why I'm talking to families first. We need to get this right. We cannot just dump our children in the schools. I will do what is best for my children, because I consider every single child that you bring into Adlo Montessori school as my own child. And even though I am not sitting in there, my head of school knows, my teachers know that that is how I consider the children. Every single child that is in the school is my child. So I treat them as my own children. The way I want my child to be treated, the way I treat my child, that's the way I treat these children. But really, honestly, parents, it is your duty to make sure that your child learns what they need to learn in terms of morals, in terms of behavior, in terms of attitude. There is so much that we can bring to play. Even in terms of their education, there is so much that a parent can do that can make the difference. And it is not by opening up their head and putting the information in there. It's just by providing those activities, those opportunities that the child needs, so that the child can use everything that is within them, that God has given them, to learn what they need to learn. That is what I have for you today. The child needs to be independent in order to be prepared for life. The goal of educating a child is to help that child to gain total independence. So parents, what are we doing? How are our children becoming more independent today from where they were at yesterday? Let us be intentional in how we help our children grow. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I can see that I have, let me see, I have Feyi Eson here. I have Adenike Oyelade Gift Omagate. Thank you so much for being here. Lubumi Adewakun. Yes, thank you so much for coming. So we will continue the series of the Montessori family project next week, Monday. I'll be here, same time. Thank you. Bye.